Hey guys, my name is Warren Cargal. I'm an acupuncturist and clinic director here at Acupuncture Atlanta. And I'm so excited to be sharing with you that we're doing our first Facebook Live here. And not only that, we have a guest here who's also one of the acupuncturists here in the clinic. So I'd like to introduce you to Sharron Leigh, who's a doctor of acupuncturist. Which I just want to say, that's substantially different than my original training, and I'll let Sharron explain that to you. Sharron, welcome to be here with us.
Thank you so much, Warren. It's an honor to be here, and I'm very excited for this experience on Facebook Live. Where do we begin?
Well, let's see. I mean, I think everyone would probably be interested in your background, your training.
Great. So I originally started out back in 2011 in Santa Monica at Emperor's College of Traditional Oriental Medicine.
And that is one of the best.
Absolutely. And I always had an itch to move back to New York City and fulfill my graduate studies. And I found out about Pacific College of Oriental Medicine being there. And I took the opportunity to relocate. All of my friends thought I was absolutely crazy for leaving Santa Monica to move back to New York City.
Wow.
But I'm really glad I did. It was an awesome experience living in the city, and I loved the team of, the clinic there. The experience there was just so awesome because what they allow you to do is you can not only get your educational hours and training in the clinic there, but they provide opportunities for you to go outside and be able to work in hospitals or other family practices, which I was able to do.
Oh wow, so what did you do? I mean, like as far as working in hospitals and things like that?
So I was able to work as an intern, or serve as an intern rather, at the NYU Langone Hospital in Brooklyn in the orthopedic and neurological department. So we would treat patients for stroke and traumatic brain injury and rehab and hip replacement. We also were able to go over to the labor and delivery department and help patients that were, delivering babies, help keep them calm and help induce labor. It was really an exhilarating experience.
Well, so like, would you use like ear points and things like that for like pain and I mean when they were delivering?
Yes, absolutely,
Wow.
and some chafing along like the kidney channel, for example, to help calm them down.
Chafing along the kidney channel, it's like, what do you mean by that?
So we would just sort of like rub, gently press along the channel, which just really helps to calm the mind. And also,
interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool.
For those of you who don't remember, like I think it was President Nixon when he visited China, he saw surgery being performed with just acupuncture needles, and they were placing them on the ears in different locations, and they didn't use anesthesia. So that's great to hear that something like that is occurring in hospitals and pregnancy and delivery and all that.
Yes, actually the clinic director that supervised us in the orthopedic and neurological department there, she's been there for over 12 years. So, and for stroke patients and whatnot. So it's an amazing, that's happening, and I wish that could come to here in Atlanta. Maybe perhaps it can.
I think it can. So here's a good question for you. So we occasionally get patients in the clinic who they're post-stroke.
Right.
So like, what treatment-wise, what would you be thinking about for those?
Well, it depends on, what's going on with them, what stage they're at.
I mean, how many years?
Exactly. And there are certain scalp points that are very effective for those patients. And so...
so there's not much meat here.
I know.
So what, are you talking about threading?
No, actually certain needles that go along the channels, the lines there for the scalp, exactly. And other points that are distally as effective.
That's very interesting. So then what do you do if there's, if there's a movement that's being restricted from the stroke? I mean, after post-stroke sequelae or something like that?
Correct. There are certain points on the body that will help break up the chi or the stagnation that's going on that can help them be able to get through that rehabilitative process.
And have you found down, like, would you normally use herbal formulas or something?
No, we didn't use any herbal formulas. It was all strictly acupuncture. And we would visit them in their hospital, obviously.
Oh, that was because of the hospital
Exactly.
environment. Right,
So.
but they didn't feel comfortable with the herbs.
Right.
Okay, I got it. So just something for anybody out there listening is if you have any questions, I think all you have to do is just type it into your Facebook and we'll get them here and we'll try to answer them.
Yes.
So please just keep them, like if they're treatment questions or things like that, just keep them simple.
Yeah.
we can't go into detail, protocols here. Okay, so here's another question for you.
Yes.
So, Sharron, what got you interested in acupuncture? I mean, why did you pick that?
That is a great question.
Thank you.
So, I actually had never had acupuncture before.
Uh-huh.
And my granddad was an MD, and then all of his brothers were MDs. And
Wow.
I've always had a passion for health and wellness and taking care of myself and, eating well and working out. And I was in a completely different career, and I just felt like what's my purpose in life?
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing a lot of research, and I started looking into what is preventative health and wellness. And then I found traditional Chinese medicine, and I went and I got a treatment, and I was absolutely blown away. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety in my life at the time, and I had a treatment, and I was just like immediately completely calmed down. And they gave me this great formula, and the next thing I knew, I was visiting emperors and going through the whole process, and here I am today. So.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of similar to what happened to me. Is like I started getting right-sided temporal headaches.
Oh, wow.
When I went to a doctor and they prescribed, regular traditional medicine or
Right.
something, and I just didn't like the way it felt and all that stuff. So out of desperation, I went to see an acupuncturist, an older dude, an older Chinese guy. And the thing went away for like 6 months,
Wow. Just from one treatment?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's what I said to her. I said, okay, this is
That's
amazing. And
That was how it was for me with my anxiety. I was absolutely like, wow, this works.
Yeah, it's just eye-opening when something happens like that for you, that you say, there's different ways to treat ourselves out here.
Definitely, absolutely. I'm absolutely blown away by our medicine.
Right.
It's been around for thousands of years, and it's pretty much ancient medicine in modern times, It's becoming more and more acceptable, and even insurance companies are starting to cover it as well, so.
I know, yeah, that's, so like, I know you had to study the herbal formulas and everything, and some of those herbal formulas are like 1,200, 800 years old, like Xiao San,
Right.
which translates as relax wonder, that's been around for centuries.
Yes, indeed. I've taken that formula. It's a great one too.
Well, share with us what Xiao San is for, how they use that.
So that one would be more for liver qi, we call it liver qi stagnation in Chinese medicine, which those types of symptoms could manifest as, I would say, irritability, agitation, fatigue even, anger, or you could even experience certain types of PMS symptoms from breast distension to cramping even.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you're stressed out, it's a great formula. I took it a lot when I was doing my studies. So that and Gui Pi Tong.
Gui Pi Tong, that's
right.
right.
Oh yes.
Those are the classic formulas there for excessive studying, which is depleting the.
Oh yes. Another term in Chinese medicine, our spleen qi deficiency.
So what is spleen qi? Let's tell the audience what that's about.
Oh my. Well, that's a great question too. So, how do I answer that? So, basically, the organs in our body, as you know this, are interrelated with the channels, right? And there's the energy that's inside of us. In Chinese medicine, it's known as our qi. So that qi is constantly moving, and if there's something that gets stuck, for example, you have like a horrible cramp, right? That would be
like PMS.
Exactly. That is sort of what we would look at as a qi stagnating in the abdomen, right? If there's a deficiency, let's say you're fatigued, for example, or you're tired, you're lethargic, that would have to do a lot with your spleen qi being deficient.
So typically, what would cause spleen qi deficiency? So I mean, like you know,
I got a great answer for that.
Those sweets.
Students.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be me. I mean, all of the students, we were all taking Gui Pi Tong because we were completely depleted, fatigued, anxiety, from stressed out from exams and nervous from having to do presentations. So Gui Pi Tong is a great formula for really helping calm the mind and the nerves and basically nourishing that spleen qi, if you will.
Yeah. So where does sugars and stuff like that fit into Gui Pi Tong?
Another great question, and I'm sorry, but I don't know the answer. Sugars for Gui Pi Tong?
Well, I mean, excessive.
Do tell.
Excessive sugar consumption.
Absolutely.
What's that going to do to
No
this?
good.
Yeah, for the spleen.
It can cause a lot of dampness.
Right,
in the
excessive
body.
dampness, and which just further depresses the kidney. I mean, the liver and everything.
Right.
So as you're practicing here, what's I mean, there's a lot of different views out there now about health.
Right.
Right. Different foods people are suggesting, like low carb foods. There's the paleo diets. There's keto. I mean,
eat right for your blood type.
Yep.
Yes.
So what happens when a new patient comes in for you? How do you approach that? I mean, where do you stand with all that?
I usually try to focus on what's agitating their diet. Could it be dairy? Are they constantly coughing after they eat dairy, or is it causing more problems like a lot of phlegm, perhaps?
So dairy could cause phlegm?
Yes, dairy is a big one that can cause phlegm, and I just focus on, what if they're eating too many spicy foods, and if they're having a reaction from that, to moderate that. That's really where I go with it. I just make sure that they're having a balance of what they're eating.
Well, I mean, traditionally in Chinese medicine, the fundamental approach has always been one of moderation.
Absolutely.
I mean, so, I always tell people, like, I don't care if you have a cigarette occasionally. I mean, occasional cigarette, or you can have a glass of wine occasionally, but it's all done in moderation. If you're, eating excessive sugars, or if you're eating, excessive spicy foods, or excessive meat consumption, greasy foods.
Exactly, yeah.
All those will have certain effects on the body.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other things that you want to add in here as we kind of wrap our first little Facebook Live up?
Well, I did want to mention that I'm just so excited to be a part of this practice here. Warren happens to be one of the pioneers that brought acupuncture to the state of Georgia, for those that didn't know that out there. So when I found
that was difficult. I just want to say it was 4 years of work for me. It was difficult.
Yeah, I know. It's a difficult state, and wow, we've come a long way here. You've been in practice here for almost 20 years now. So that was just so appealing to me, and why I chose you guys, and I'm just so glad to be a part of this team here. So Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, so our intent here with the Facebook Live now is to start doing a little Facebook Live podcast every couple of weeks and on topics, and I hope that you will be able to sit in and do some of your own on some of your interesting topics. And then if you guys have anything that's of interest to you, just
bring the questions in.
That's right, bring those questions in. So thanks very much for listening.
Thanks, everybody.